Welcome back to CryptosRus. I am George. We're all George. So welcome to another market open stream. Good morning to everyone. And today I want to talk about some major catalysts for the next Bitcoin bull run. That's right. There are major things happening right now. Let's discuss all of them and let's discuss what else is happening in the world today. Let's do this. Welcome. The market bell is just about to ring. US right now looking flat. I didn't change my screen here. It's looking flat. Oh, there we go. There's the market bell. Best bell in the industry. And this is still working after like 5 years. No battery change. It doesn't need batteries. But yeah, today US market is looking flat. Crypto, Bitcoin is looking flat. But there are some major things that are about to happen, so let me talk about those. But first, something that has nothing to do with crypto, really, but it took people by surprise this weekend, and I don't know what to think of it, but it looks like this ultimate cage fight may not be happening. Zuck is getting very frustrated at Elon, and basically says it's time to move on because Elon is not serious about it. Now, I don't know what prompted this. Maybe because Elon was pissed off at Mark for creating threads and basically copying off of what's called X now. But it seems like ever since the very first tweets about fighting, and then we saw Elon spar with Lex Fridman, right? That was it. Elon really hasn't been doing all that much. And this screenshot was shared over the weekend. This one is actually a condensed one by Elon himself, but someone else shared like a longer version of this, which basically Elon was a text message Mark saying, hey, do you want to spar a little bit? Okay, I'm available or whatever. And the green is from Elon. The gray is from Mark. And Mark got frustrated with that and said, hey, if you want to do a real MMA, you should train on your own, not try to like spar with me, right? And I don't want to keep hyping something that will never happen. And then you could see Elon then tweet, I'll be Palo Alto on Monday. Let's fight in your octagon. Mark has an octagon in his backyard. Right? And then he goes on and admits that I haven't been practicing much, but given our size difference, Elon thinks that he's going to win for sure. That's why he doesn't need to practice. That probably frustrated Mark even more because Elon basically assumes that he's just going to win because he's bigger. And then Zuck tweeted this on Threads today and basically called out Elon saying he's not serious. It's time to move on, right? And then he goes on and said, he's been trying to get a date from Elon. Dana White tried to make it a competition for charity. And then he complains that he needs surgery. And now he wants to do a practice round in my backyard, right? He's like, hey, if Elon ever gets serious, I'm here. Otherwise, I'm moving on. That's basically what it is. So I'm kind of disappointed by this. I know this has nothing to do with crypto, but pretty disappointed by this fact. I don't know what. I mean, Elon was the one that started, right? And I think everyone's rooting for Elon. I'm really rooting for Elon. So I wish this happens. This would be the greatest fight in history. Probably the most bought fight if they put it on pay-per-view. But doesn't seem like it's going to happen. But we'll see how Elon responds to this. Because he already tweeted out this whole thing about being in Rome and the Colosseum and everything, like, why do all that if he's not going to go through with it? And it's going to look pretty embarrassing, too, if he decides to back out now. Anyways, just want to start out with that. Big news from the weekend. As for getting back on track, for financial news, we got some economic data that's coming out this week. Actually, a lot of it starting tomorrow. Retail sales, and then you got, like, FOMC meeting minutes from the last FOMC meeting, jobless claim, right? So again, people are still trying to decide, or Wall Street trying to decide whether or not we're going to get any more rates. But what I'm concentrating on is when we actually start cutting, okay? Is it going to happen soon? Well, according to Goldman, yes. Goldman expects no more rate hikes for the remainder of this week, and then we will cut second quarter of 2024. I think that's pretty realistic. That's my prediction too. I don't think we're going to get another one in September, to be honest. I just don't see it unless we get another reading, another inflation reading that shows we're like wildly skyrocketing again and reversing, right? Unless that happens, we're staying steady or we continue to go below. There's no reason why Powell needs to do another rate hike. It's adding a lot of stress to the banks, more than we probably know, okay? So I just don't, there's no reason for another one. And then we'll probably get cuts in 2024. Again, think about that. The second quarter of 2024, right? That's right before the next halving event. So that is actually a major catalyst. I already said this before, and I'll say it again. We have like a trifecta thing going on in 2024. Number one, from a macro perspective, we're going to get a cut. But whenever we get cuts, it's major. It's a major catalyst for money to flow into like equities and crypto and everything else, right? So that's also coming next year. And I'm just going to assume that we're not going to get any more this year, but who knows? Even when we get another 25 basis points in September, end of September, it's not going to be the biggest deal. I think right now it's kind of like priced in already. It happens, great. If it doesn't, it's almost like I get that feeling that no one really cares. What people really care about is when we're going to get the first cut, and that's coming up in 2024. So that's one major catalyst. Another one is you got to pay attention to what's going on around the world. Right now, a lot of people study the DXY, the strength of the dollar, right? Obviously, that does have, there's a correlation there, again, with DXY and equities. So whenever DXY goes down, equities goes up in terms of value, and same thing with crypto, right? And vice versa. They tend to go down when DXY goes up. But if you look at what makes up DXY, well, DXY is, it's basically a measurement of how strong the USD is versus other currencies. But right now, you look at other currencies, they're not doing so good, which is unfortunately driving DXY higher. DXY was dropping. It was below 100, and now it's above 100 because one of the biggest fiat currencies it's paired against is the yen, which is dropping or I should say, its value is dropping like a rock. So recently, Bank of Japan or Japan in general, they've been adjusting. They don't have like a Fed fund rate to adjust. They adjust basically on how much 10-year yield bonds they buy and what the interest rate is, and they're trying to relax that because they're going on an unsustainable rate. And ever since they've become a little bit looser on their rate, now their currency again is weakening big time, right? And so that's no good. And whenever, again, the DXY, the dollar is pegged against like 5 different currencies, the yen is makes up a huge portion of that. So this is definitely no good. No good. And it's not just the yen. I saw this too. Russia's ruble is also sinking like crazy. Okay, it's funny. At the beginning of war, ruble went down like a rock, and then it climbed up because Russia made some moves, and now it's starting to come back down again. Again, whatever you see currencies from other countries get weak, what happens? They tend to buy the USD, right? In this case, I don't know if Russia's actually buying USD or if they're even allowed to buy USD at this point, but this is what happens. Unfortunately, all these things are happening that's driving DXY higher. But my point is this, okay? It doesn't matter which fiat currency. Doesn't really matter which fiat currency you or I hold, right? Oh, I forgot. This is showing Argentinian pesos, okay, and how much you could buy with Bitcoin, and you can see how that's skyrocketing right now, right? Here's another fiat that's in trouble. Okay, it has been in trouble for quite some time, hyperinflation, right? But right now it's like an all-time high, all-time high. So people in Argentina and people from places that suffering from hyperinflation, they're benefiting a lot by buying Bitcoin and holding it, right? But yeah, but going back to my main point, another catalyst is just basically devaluation of currencies, of fiat currencies in general. This is a slow thing, but it's happening, right? Even in the U.S. with inflation, even with the U.S., with its USD, the reserve currency of the world, you still see it. Inflation is still affecting many, many people out there. And over time, it's going to get worse. It never gets better. It only gets worse, right? And there are some things inherently with crypto, as specifically Bitcoin, they're just better, and you just can't beat it. You can't beat it. Right? If you look at the bottom three, sovereign, that's a big thing. You can't trust governments because every government eventually gets greedy and screws up. That's why you have overprinting, and then it leads to inflation and eventually hyperinflation, right? That's not an issue with Bitcoin. It should actually be NA because no one controls it. No one can inflate it or change monetary policy, apply monetary easing or whatever, right? It's also decentralized, again, not controlled by a central bank or any entity out there. Bitcoin is now programmable too, but there's also things, scarcity. Obviously, Bitcoin is they call it the hardest asset there is because there's a finite supply. No one else can offer that. There's no fiat currency on the planet that has a finite supply because governments can't be trusted and they actually need their inflation. They actually need their currency to be inflated. So that's why none of them are scarce. Bitcoin is, right? And it's also secure, highly divisible, durable, portable, right? Even versus gold. Gold is better than fiat, but Bitcoin is way better than gold. So basically, this is another catalyst. It's going to take some time. This is not immediate, but from 2020 till now, we've definitely seen a lot more people pay attention to Bitcoin because of the overprinting, overspending, inflation, right? All the nasty things that we had to deal with for the last 3 years, 3 years, has driven a lot of people to take a second look at Bitcoin or to get involved with Bitcoin, right? So I think over time, more and more people will realize it. More and more people will realize you just can't trust fiat fully. If you have your entire life savings in a bank account, all in fiat, you're just going to see it diminish over time. And eventually you're not even going to recognize it anymore because it's not going to be worth anything. I tweeted this out recently, and this has to do with what we're going through with inflation right now. One of my favorite Chinese restaurants by me. We have not gone for quite some time. Right? Probably the last time we went was like 6 months ago, and the time before that was like years ago. But still, now the food portions are twice as small, and the price is double. So if you think about it, that's you're getting like 4 times less than before. And it's absolutely horrible, right? And that's what I'm talking about, inflation. Higher costs of labor and services and goods, right? And food. Eventually, over time, you don't even know what you ate, and the bill is like $100. So yeah, it's a silent killer. Anyways, with all that said, what else? Is there another catalyst? Well, of course, there's another catalyst, direct catalyst that's also coming. Right now, we know it's the calm before the storm. Bitcoin has been stagnant for a long time. It's in the eye of the storm where it's very calm, and then things are going to get real shaky, real volatile, right? In a good way. That's coming. And the other catalyst, of course, is Bitcoin ETFs. Spot Bitcoin ETFs, right? I've talked about this. ARCs not expired, but it was delayed. The next deadline is November. We'll see if the SEC comes to their senses, but all the other ones from BlackRock and Van Eyck and Invesco, Fidelity, Valkyrie, their next deadline is actually in October. So there could be a chance that, let's say, BlackRock gets approved in October, then everything else will get approved. And then, of course, ARKs will be approved. But if they get denied, then the next deadline will be November. But eventually, the SEC could only delay this for so long until January, which is, I believe, when a spot Bitcoin ETF will be approved. Again, if you think about it, the timing of this, you're going to get a Fed rate cut, you're going to get a spot Bitcoin ETF or multiple spot Bitcoin ETFs, and then you go get the halving event. Think about it. Think about the trifecta right there. It's going to be so big, enormous. Yes, it'll be the. I don't think we've ever seen something like that happen before. I mean, it's going to be tremendous. But in the meantime, what can we do to prepare? I mean, just keep on doing what you guys are doing, which is, first of all, tuning in. Second of all, smashing the like and subscribing to the channel. And then third, keep accumulating. And that's what people have been doing. Number of addresses, even whales, that's holding above 1,000 Bitcoin. I mean, they're jumping in, right? People with over 1,000 Bitcoins are still accumulating. That's why addresses with over 1,000 Bitcoins is still skyrocketing. That's a lot of Bitcoins. Total supply held by long-term holders has now just surpassed 75%. 75%, more than 75% of Bitcoin is being held by long-term holders and continues to go up, right? This has never happened before. Go look at it. Even previous cycles has never, ever, ever been this high. So the faith and conviction of people in Bitcoin has never been higher than now. Never, ever, ever. Same thing. Number of addresses holding at least 0.1 Bitcoin has never, ever, ever been this high. We're talking about all-time high. Okay? So the fundamentals of Bitcoin, whatever we can to measure network activity, network users, network value, all-time high. So imagine that when the price actually starts catching up to the fundamentals, it's going to be glorious. It's going to be way higher than our previous high of 69,000, and who knows where it's going to be, right? Two other things. I don't know if this is a catalyst. It could be, especially if you're a Hedera fan, but it's also kind of negative in a way. I saw this. One of the dApps on top of Hedera, or using Hedera, called Drop, which is a micro payment service, was actually added to the Federal Reserve service provider list. So they could actually, utilize FedNow, which I guess is good because it's the very first crypto company to get added, I guess, to be authorized to use FedNow. Okay, so that's good. That's why actually Hedera is up 16% today. But if you think about it, do we really want crypto companies to be powering FedNow or be involved with the Federal Reserve, right? I don't know if that's a good thing, because crypto is supposed to get away from anything centralized and anything that's created by governments and central banks, right? And we know CBDCs are not going to be good. CBDCs are going to be absolutely horrible. So I don't know how to take this news. If this is good news or bad news or both. I don't know, but I guess we'll take it as good news for now. If you're a Hedera holder, some of you guys are, you're up 16% because of this, right? But still, not sure this is ultimately what we want, right? And then lastly, SBF is heading to a Brooklyn jail, notorious for poor conditions. I don't think anyone's going to be sobbing over the poor conditions, but he is going to be heading to jail. He's no longer going to be able to just go online on the internet and do whatever he was doing, right? He's not going to be at the comforts of his parents' home. He'll be awaiting trial and preparing his defense from jail. So it actually happened. All right, that's pretty much it. Let's see. Today looking not so good. Not so good. Intuit's Alex Chris named new PayPal CEO. Ooh, PayPal is just, the previous CEO hasn't been there for that long. I wonder why they just switched. We know PayPal, controversial company, notorious for account lockouts and payment withdrawals being halted. But we know they just launched a new stablecoin. They're trying to get into crypto. So, but I wonder why they're getting a new CEO. I don't know if he's crypto friendly or not. I don't know. That's interesting. That's interesting. All right. Let's do some do Q&A. Sean Walker, good evening from Bahamas. Bahamas is a beautiful place. Very tourist place, though, which means everything is super expensive. When I stayed at, I forgot that famous resort in Bahamas. Like, getting a small bottle of water is like $12. It was ridiculous. The most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Even in Vegas, a bottle of water is like $7. Theirs was like $12 for a smaller one. I mean, everything's so ridiculously expensive in Bahamas. All right. Let's scrolling up. Let me see if I missed anything. Tom was in the chat. Welcome, Tom. I should do another SBF Adventures. Haven't done one in a while. Daddy, of all the years of bear market, which one is the worst in your opinion? Well, I don't know, to be honest. I have a pretty short memory these days. I don't know why. I don't remember a lot of things from before. But I definitely think that I still remember the most vivid periods were 2018, 2019, 2020. They were pretty bad, right? I think they were much worse than 2022 and 2023, to be honest, because everything was just much lower. The prices were much lower, and it freaked people out, and you didn't have as much arguments as you do now in terms of why things will come back up. You really didn't. DeFi it existed, but no one cared. There was no really TVL locked in, and all these chains were theoretical, and very little actually had any users. So really what you had was Bitcoin and Ethereum, and Ethereum was weak. Ethereum dropped below $100. Think about it. How many of you guys would love to go back in time and buy Ethereum at like $88? That was bottom of 2018. And forget that, bottom in 2020, in March of 2020, Ethereum fell below $100 again. Okay, so that's why those times felt scarier, because the prices were much, much lower. So I know that, people that didn't live through those years probably think, well, I don't know what you're talking about, but it's been pretty scary riding from 69,000 down to 15,000. Yes, it's still scary. It still hurts. But, when you're seeing Bitcoin at 3,000 and everyone's calling 1,000, and when you see Ethereum below 100 and everyone calling Ethereum going back to the teens, those were scarier times for me. Oh, yeah, Atlantis. Atlantis is just ridiculously expensive. It's beautiful, has beautiful beaches. The rooms were okay. The rooms, honestly, was not that impressive either, and they screwed up our room. We reserved like a bigger room, and then they said, oh, no, we ran out, and they had to give us a smaller room, and they gave us a stupid credit, so I was not happy about that either. I don't think I'll go back to Atlantis, to be honest. And everything is just so ridiculously expensive. Yeah. I think there is more opportunities for massive gains in NFTs than in crypto coins this decade because the market cap is so small now. Agree? No. No, I don't. I feel like there are equal gains, and I feel like there are way more people that still would rather buy coins than NFTs. So I don't agree with that. What price range did you buy roughly? I've been buying since 2000 Bitcoin. You know, beginning in 2017. I mined a whole bunch in 2013, 14. Unfortunately, sold it all out. But yeah, I got back in 2017. That's when I was buying. What is the next altcoin narrative pump? AI, gaming, L2, DeFi. You know, I would love to see gaming explode because gaming could attract millions of users into the space, but we just haven't seen any really good games come out, right? Web3 games. I know a lot are being developed. They're like Web 2.5. They're not completely Web 3. They want to layer 3, aspects in later, right? But right now, there's just not a whole lot of games. But I do think once the real good games come out, a lot of people won't even know they're Web3 games and they're just coming into the space. I think that is going to drive massive adoption to a lot of these projects. Because right now, there's just not a whole lot of users for dApps. Everything is just like a lending platform or trading platform or a staking platform, which are all DeFi related, but there's really nothing out there. Like a regular app, let's say a social app or a game or something else that's really being used by millions of people. It just doesn't exist yet. So, but when they do come, it's going to change the landscape. You guys got to understand the future of blockchain technology. Solana. That's funny. We'll see. I still have hopes for Solana. Again, they need more dApps. The funny story is I just reached out to Intoli recently. I see he's going to be at Permissionless 2, which is coming up next month in Austin. I'm still debating if I should go, but love to talk to him. I love to talk to anyone these days. Kind of, try to broaden my reach, network, see how I could be helpful. Yeah. X ticker, American Steel got a couple offers of buyout, one from Cleveland, one disclosed. People are thinking it's Elon for X ticker. Thoughts? No, he's not paying billions for that ticker. That would be stupid. That would be really, really stupid. I already talked about him backing out. This is what you're talking about, right? This right here, U.S. Steel. Yeah. Elon's not bidding 7.3 billion or more just for the X ticker to be listed on the stock market as X. That would be ridiculously stupid. If that actually was true, people would sell off like crazy. So hopefully that's not the case, and I don't think that is the case at all. Thoughts on Cardano going on Ethereum ecosystem? There's probably a dApp being made. There'll probably be some kind of connection, a sidechain connection that can make that happen. But as Cardano itself, no. I think a lot of these chains, what they're trying to do is become a layer 0 rather than layer 1. Avalanche is trying to be a layer 0. We're hearing about others like Cello, Phantom trying to become a layer 0 now, almost, so that it can like bridge to Ethereum, or maybe a layer 2. But Cosmos is a layer 0. You know, Cardano almost seems like it wants to be a layer 0 because of all the side chains it wants to add on, right? So once these kind of become layer 0, they don't need to be ETH compatible themselves. They just need a side chain to be compatible and kind of form that bridge. I could definitely see that happen with Cardano. But Charles, I don't think he really likes Vitalik. I think the last thing he would want to do is try to make Cardano EVM compatible. I think it's just he's going to rely on some kind of dApp to make that happen. Hedera is pumping hard. Yeah, I talked about Hedera. Their big FedNow news. It's not even them. It's just a dApp that's on top of Hedera that can now offer FedNow. It's on their providers list. Again, I guess that's a good thing, but do we really need crypto companies to be part of the U.S., FedNow CBDC program? Not really, right? Yeah. I don't know. It would be the kind of like same if XRP is selected to power FedNow. It's using, I hear it's using the same technology, but let's say like Ripple was actually contacted and say, hey, Federal Reserve is going to put FedNow on top of the XRP ledger, and we want to use XRP as the bridge currency. Like, I know you could spin that as being a very positive thing for Ripple and XRP ledger, right? And XRP in general. But like when you're powering something that you're trying to compete against and replace, I don't know. That's a good thing. But that's kind of like what this is now. When will I start the parabolic rise? It's not dependent on me, guys. It's dependent on you guys. That's what I'm trying to get you guys to see. Too many people are getting discouraged during these boring times, but no, this is the time to be staying strong, to be accumulating, because the bull run has started, but the parabolic run has not. That's when I believe in 2024 we will see some massive things happening. So I'm excited, and hopefully you guys are too. Do we need so many L1s? No, we don't need so many L1s, but that's like saying, why do we need so many restaurants? Why do we need so many different variety of cars? Why do we have so many technology companies? Why do we have so many public traded companies? Because the space, first of all, is big enough for more than one. Second of all, people are still trying to figure it out, right? And third of all, maybe sometimes you just want some variety, right? That's the best way to look at it. All right, guys. Overall, stay strong, my friends. A lot of catalysts out there that will drive the next parabolic bull run to Bitcoin. So stay strong, and I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.